Buddy, welcome back to Lombardi Sweep, Green Bay Packers podcast here from Flurry Sports. And Packers coming off another win. I obviously got to watch it after the fact. You watched it live. Definitely an interesting game. I'm actually very curious your thoughts about it. I had a very different experience since I watched it in condensed version, so hard to get the gauge of like the vibe of the stadium and stuff like that. But we can just jump into it. Luke Reimer's with me. Janet Wilson will join us in a second. I felt like no team had control of this game. It was just like one of those games where both teams came out. They couldn't really do their strength. They both committed penalties. I think both ended up committing 6. Neither team was even halfway decent on third down. So because of that, like drives petered out, and then it just turned into both teams just trying to chuck it. Like we kind of talked about this last week. I will say though, like I said last week, both teams want to run the football, but the team to pass the ball first is going to win this game. Pass to get the lead, run to win. And the Packers are the team that came out and did that. The Rams just wanted to go through Kyron Williams. Were kind of afraid to do anything else. But the Packers came out aggressive. They passed, I think, 3 of the first 4 plays. Their first 2 first plays of the drive, first 2 drives rather, first play were passes, so they didn't come out and just lean on their tendencies. Packers were aggressive. They came out and did exactly what I said. They came out with a win, but I don't know. What's your thoughts, Luke? Did either team? To me, it felt like neither team had a grasp the entire game.
I was just going to say, did either team really impress you in this game? Not really, right? To your point about Green Bay coming on passing right away, yeah, I mean, like, right, the highlight play of that game, right, was that 55-yard bomb into triple coverage that Jayden Reed came down with, which is a Packer fan, incredible to watch.
Sure.
But other than, like, after that, it kind of felt like they got away from, taking shots down the field and opening up the middle with the pass and try to get Josh Jacobs going, Emmanuel Wilson going, which is fine. Everyone's always clamoring, let's get the run going. But the pass was working to start, and then that offense kind of teetered off, come the second, third, fourth, fifth drive. So whether that was a game plan thing, an adjustment thing based on, the Rams defense or whatever, I mean, in a game, and of course, you talking about, the good teams, in a game like, you play Minnesota again, or even against, Arizona and Houston coming up, I don't necessarily know that's going to fly where you can get away with scoring right away and then just doing nothing for the rest of the first half.
No, it comes down to in-game adjustments again. Packers aren't necessarily great at that. They're usually pretty good at like a script to start the game, and obviously this time they were okay. Like this game came down to mistakes, right? Rams had 2 turnovers, the Packers 1, I believe. Even penalties, so neither team were worse in that regard. But it's just turnovers, and then the Packers had those 2 big plays.
Right.
And I mean, I can tell you why they did chuck it downfield again is because if I would assume the Packers felt like they got one over on the Rams because there's no reason why that pass to Jayden Reed was completed.
Right.
Like it was a bad decision. It's not like it was a pinpoint throw. It was just 2 different defenders completely misjudged the throw, and there's 3 guys there. Should have been at worst for like the Rams, it would have been an incomplete. Like there's no reason why it wasn't an incomplete. But then Tucker Kraft, obviously, he's the one that's kind of stealing the show. That run after the catch was insane.
I mean, he's a dog, man.
Angry. He's so good.
Yeah.
I love Luke Musgrave. I think he should be involved more. But Tucker Kraft, like, he's very good. He's so good. He plays angry.
Right, and that's the thing that they kind of like set up with the draft, right? You draft the 2 stud tight ends, and if one works out, incredible. If one doesn't, if they're both not going to work out, right? So, are you hedging your bets by taking another one, or is he the best on your board? Whatever. But I agree with you. I'd love to see Luke Musgrave on the field, but once again, like you're not taking Tucker Kraft off the field right now to put Luke Musgrave on the field.
I agree. I think they can run more 12 personnel. I don't know why they don't.
For sure.
Like I think it's better for running, like run blocking, because I think Luke Musgrave's just as good of a blocker, if not better, than Tucker Kraft. And then you can't say Luke Musgrave's less athletic than any of the wide receivers. Like, who would you rather have on the field, I guess, Luke Musgrave or Christian Watson?
Right. Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
they have different
it's at least a
reasons.
conversation.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying Christian Watson should never be on the field, but it shouldn't be exclusively him and not Luke Musgrave.
Right.
Janet, we're just
Hey,
talking
Janet.
about last week's game a little bit. We kind of both just said it felt like neither team even had like a little bit of a handle on this game. No team had control the whole time. Did you feel that way too, or no?
It was kind of like, yeah, it was definitely, what do they call teeter totters? Like we're one of them. Yeah, it was a little bit crazy. It was one of those.
It was organized chaos.
Yeah, it was like I was
Yeah.
about to say, it was like one of those high anxiety games. Like they wouldn't be the Packers if they wouldn't do that to us. But I felt like it was one of those high anxiety games where the whole time. So long story short, I was like on a hike. I was like in the middle of some random forest, listening to listening to the game, and I was on a trail, and like the person I was with was just like, I would hear me say, "We got this. We're gonna win." Like, oh damn, I think we're gonna lose. We're totally gonna lose. And then I'd be like, "Ah, we're gonna win." I'd be like so pumped, and then no, I think we're gonna lose this game. So yeah, it was definitely a roller coaster of emotions, but I kind of felt like they were gonna win this game.
I mean, I was also literally in the middle of the forest. I got a notification on my phone that said "Welcome to Canada." My Verizon thought I was in Canada because I was so far north, which was interesting. So I watched the condensed game like just today, like right before this. I don't know, man. Like it just felt like the Rams played well to start. They are so beat up. Like Luke, you talked about it last week, and you're correct. Like Packers are just way more talented because the people on the field, like the Rams had at some point, it's like how much can these guys give, and it just wasn't enough against just raw. Like you couldn't tackle Tucker Kraft,
right?
Like stuff like that. It's I don't know. It is what it is.
Luke,
Yeah, I mean, no, I'm here. Are you frozen?
No, you're frozen on my screen.
Oh, I'm not frozen.
I got you.
But no, I mean, like it was a game kind of, like an Indianapolis game, like a Tennessee game where Green Bay just came in, they should have won, they did win, and now you're on to the next week, right? It's kind of I don't really think you take much from this game. Tucker Kraft's a dog, we all know that. But other than that, like it's fun to see McKinney continue to get interceptions. But another one, it's just like on to the next.
Yeah, it's every single season. If you're going to be a playoff team, you're going to steal wins at some point. This was when they stole. Great. You can't really take too much from it other than we need to play better. And we talked about that last week. Like we got to play better. This week we are at home versus the Cardinals at noon. And the Cardinals, I mean, what's their record? Do they have one win or do they have two? They're at two. So they're 2-3. We are at 3-2. This is a team I think most people would say is better than what they thought they would be coming in. And it's just because the Cardinals make games ugly. They want to just play in the trenches and then let Kyler Murray run around and throw it to Marvin Harrison. Like it's going to be an ugly game. They're going to try to run it. They're going to try to slow everything down and catch the Packers sleeping with Marvin Harrison Jr. Like that's what this Cardinals team is going to want to do. And Packers need to be ready for that because the Cardinals are healthier. They're a better running team, in my opinion, than the Rams. And defensively, I think they're a little bit better. Like you're not going to make that Jaden Reed throw with Budda Baker there, I guess. You know what I mean? Right. So we got to play a little bit better, but this is certainly another very winnable game against another NFC West team, which I think is great for this upcoming week.
Yeah, I agree. And it's another thing, right, where does like you mentioned, like there's names there. Kyler Murray, there's a James Conner, there's a Marvin Harrison. But honestly, what scares you on that offense? The whole fact is, to your point, is just let those receivers run, spaghetti routes and let Kyler Murray run around and make a play. So it's really easy to say, and it's every team who ever plays the Cardinals. Like the number one thing is just don't let Kyler Murray beat you with his legs. If you contain Kyler Murray, you put pressure on him. This is a really easy, winnable game in my mind.
It for sure is, but I mean that's what scares me.
Right.
Every Packers fan's been, abused by running quarterbacks enough over their years, where it's like, could Kyler Murray set the new quarterback record for rushing yards in a game? Yeah, It would definitely be against the Packers if it happens. But is it likely? No. But that's what scares me. Let's talk about the injury report coming in to the game, though. It's a lot more positive, I would say, than last week. So first injury report of the week, talking Wednesday. Devontae Wyatt did not participate today. We talked about that last week. I think he's out multiple weeks, in my opinion. But then it looks like everybody else at least practiced. We got limited participation from Christian Watson with an ankle, Carrington Valentine with an ankle, Luke Musgrave with an ankle, Jordan Morgan shoulder, Elton Jenkins knee, Edgerrin Cooper hip, Kenny Clark toe, Jair Alexander groin, and then Jonathan Ford, defensive lineman, is designated to come off of IR. Full participation from Aaron Mosby, Zach Tom, and Jordan Love's not even listed, which is a good thing. But yeah, it should be a relatively healthy Packers team this week. I think Jair Alexander has a pretty good chance to play. And while he doesn't match up very well size-wise with Marvin Harrison Jr., I would assume he takes on that challenge, don't you think?
For sure. For sure, and I guess what, just kind of going off that, I'll say something that scares me is Arizona's wide receiver. Michael Wilson's been playing great this year. You're gonna see Eric Stokes this week. And Michael Wilson plays physical. He's a big guy. I could see him having kind of a big week here. But if Michael Wilson's the guy to beat you, then tip your cap. If you can take away Marvin Harrison, if you can take away Kyler Murray, I think you're doing fine.
Yeah, for sure. You just got to make sure it's not one of those games Kyler Murray had a couple of weeks ago where he had that perfect passer rating.
Yeah.
You just got to make him make tough plays. That's it. You can't just let him sit back and throw it to the open player, because any receiver going up against the Packers' second, third cornerbacks are good enough to get open if you give them time to do so. Like, you got to rush Kyler Murray, but you have to rush him correctly. And that's where, this defensive line is going to have to be disciplined. Well, they're going to have to be a lot more effective as a group than they have been. Obviously, Kingsley Enagbare is quickly turning into one of the best players the Packers have on defense. Not worried about him. I'm worried about, Lucas Van Ness being a little bit disciplined, Rashawn Gary being productive, and I'm not worried about Kenny Clark either. Honestly, it's mostly just those two. But yeah, you got to rush Kyler Murray correctly.
And good thing the Packers have the perfect inside linebacker for Kyler Murray, right?
Theoretically, Quay Walker doesn't do much well, but he is an athletic freak. Like, no one can disagree with that. You would assume you could have Quay Walker just shadow Kyler Murray, play spy, whatever you want to call it. Just have him be 2 to 5 yards off the ball, mimic Kyler Murray's motions, and just fly to wherever the ball is. That's his job this week. Don't worry about another little thing. That's what I would do.
Don't worry about run
fits. Hafley does the same thing.
Don't worry about pass coverage. Wherever Kyler Murray is, that's where Quay Walker needs to be.
Honestly,
the only little thing he has to worry about is Kyler Murray.
Right.
100%. And what's up, Diggs, in the chat? I have the Cardinals injury report as well. They had only one player not practice today, lineman Kelvin Beachum, which is a good thing. Yeah. Hamstring injury there. Limited participation from Evan Brown, another lineman. Matt Prater has a knee injury.
Oh, interesting.
Didn't play last week. So obviously Packers know as well as anybody, if you have kicker injuries or a new kicker coming in, could certainly create some problems, especially on the road, especially against and in Green Bay. Darius Robinson, D lineman, was limited. Garrett Williams was limited. Full participation from Christian Jones, rookie lineman I like.
Yep.
And a player who I am kind of thinking is the X factor in this game. Packers need to stop him, and that's Zay Jones. Jones is making his Cardinals debut. First game coming back from suspension. I think we will get him against Keyshawn Nixon a decent amount. And same thing as last week. I said the Rams are going to have success with Jordan Whittington. Packers need to stop him. They stopped him enough. And then we're going to have to stop Zay Jones. I think that's the guy I'm scared of. Michael Wilson's really good too, but I've seen Zay Jones play really good football.
He's got the most receptions in college football history for a reason.
That's true. That's a good point. Anything notable from the injury report you want to talk about, Janet, that stood out to you or anything like that before we get into like predictions and stuff?
It can't be as bad as last week, so I think we're good.
Correct.
Right.
We
I
did
agree.
fine. So the healthier people get, the better, and that's all. Like honestly, I wasn't panicking last week either, so we should be fine.
Yeah. We actually play a healthier team, but we should be fine. It's the Cardinals. I will never be afraid of the Cardinals.
Yeah, that too.
Can't do it. Okay. So
When AJ Green just stopped playing in the last play of that game against the Cardinals 3 years ago, that was an incredible win.
yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
That felt good.
Yeah.
That felt really good. Where's AJ Green now? I hope he's fine. He disappeared so quickly just from everything.
Yep.
Okay. So Packers are at home. Like I said, noon kickoff. Packers usually play better in this time slot. Packers are 5.5-point favorites at home. So big favorites, biggest favorites of the year. 47.5-point over under. Cardinals and the Packers are both coming off big wins. Cardinals beat the Niners. But they do have back-to-back losses before that. I will say this, and we can talk about keys to victory, what we're looking for. Cardinals have been pretty susceptible to letting teams run all over them.
Yeah.
You can look at, it was a close game with the Niners. They lost huge to Washington, 42-14. They lost to the Lions, 20-13. Pretty clearly, if you can run the ball on the Cardinals, they're going to really struggle because their secondary sucks. So you should be able to pass it against them if they can't, or if they have to play, honest with everything. So Packers, I assume, going to come in wanting to run the ball, opposite of last week. Big key. We need Josh Jacobs to fucking run the football with success.
I was about to say that too. You just let him loose, let it go. He even said himself, like he always feels like he could do a lot more, and they don't let him. So yeah, I want them to.
The issue with players like him, and it's not his fault. Yeah. He's so much better once he had like those 15 through 25 carries are way better than his first 15 carries,
Yeah.
Like he needs to get into a rhythm. He needs to wear down the defense. He needs to set them up a little bit. And then all of a sudden, fourth quarter, he's going to be breaking huge runs. The issue becomes Packers really want him to be healthy rest of the year. So how big of a workload do you give him? And the Packers still haven't found a great balance, I don't think. And I don't think it sucks. I don't think a timeshare works with him. I really don't. Like, even if we find a healthy mix, like if he gets 15 carries and Wilson or Lloyd or whoever gets 10, I don't think that's very effective with him.
Right. He's got, like, to your point, like get him going a little bit. He's got a little Derrick Henry in him, right? Where if he can wear down linebackers plowing into him, he's always going to be the guy who's ready to go more. So I'm with you on that. Right. Especially like the run game, especially has to work this week. Like you can run on the Cardinals. The receiver room is all fucked up right now with Christian Watson doing his thing, Romeo Doubs doing his thing, whatever else is going on. But if you can hit, power right, power left, power right, ISO middle, trap middle, and then hit a Jaden Reed, sweep, I think you're sitting pretty on the first drive. If you can hit, 5 out of the first 10 plays doing that.
Completely agree, Janet. I took yours a little bit, but is there another key or specific thing you're looking at Packers need to do to win this game?
No, I think we've pretty much covered everything. I just really want JJ to have like a breakout game. That my favorite position is the running back position, and I favor those guys a lot. So just kind of seeing him struggle, like you said, they haven't given him some sort of rhythm or a game where he can catch rhythm. It's kind of sad because they made so much hype about him, and now in a way he's people are talking about him like, oh, he's kind of letting us down in a way, but I don't think it's, like you said, it's not his fault.
Yeah, it goes back to something mentioned last show. He's not really a fit for this offense. It's another sort of situation where I feel like Good is making decisions without collaborating with LaFleur. He gets players who he thinks are good, and then he's like, "Hey, here, look what I brought." It's like a cat bringing you a dead mouse or something. Like, thanks, I didn't need that. Like, it's kind of is what it is. But we'll see. We'll see.
I think too. I always say this whenever the Packers play running quarterbacks. Like, if you can get your hands on Kyler Murray, like, you have to fucking bury him in the ground and let him know that you're here, right? If he wants to run, like, let's show him what happens when you run.
100%. You absolutely have to.
Which is it's a really hard thing to do. But if they can get his hands,
so
like,
hard.
if you can get one or two good ones, like, you have to take them.
You have to, and just collaborating on him is tough. Just because not only is he extremely athletic and quick, but he's also tiny, and it's a real thing. Like, trying to find him, that's a real thing. It's going to be tough. So Packers have to do that. They have to.
I'm always
with. They have to be careful when they rush. They have to rush with patience almost.
Yeah,
they can't go crazy.
I'm always a proponent of this, you get a running quarterback and get him down the sideline. If he's out of bounds, take the 15-yard penalty if it's early in the game and set a tone.
I agree. You have to make it count, though.
Yeah, for sure.
You can't do like a little push thing out of bounds and get like that doesn't do anything.
You have to do what Clay Matthews did to Colin Kaepernick.
For sure. That's true. Hopefully we can do that. But that goes back again to the Quay Walker thing. Quay Walker's a perfect person to take one on the
Agreed.
show, by the way. If he is effective in spying Kyler Murray, it allows those edge guys to be a little bit more aggressive. Because I do think, like, if there's one person who can keep up with Kyler Murray, chase him down, it is him.
Yeah.
As much shit as I give him, he's so athletic. He's so fast. He's great at that one thing. Go towards the football. Luke, do you have any other keys here?
I mean, no, like I said, if you can take Marvin Harrison out, I think you're fine, right? Like, Kyler Murray's going to run. If you can take him out, fine. Like, on offense, you guys kind of hit on the head. Like, you have to run the ball. We have to get it good. I don't think this is a game where you need to rely on the pass. Although Zach, you brought it up before, Pack have been doing a really good job of beating zone coverage. They see zone coverage if Love can check to it and just have guys find those open spots, kind of like what the Chiefs do, right? Kind of what Rashee Rice, what Travis Kelce have kind of made careers on, is just find the open spot. That's Jaden Reed's been dominating at that this year. I'm all for that too. But I don't know. I think Green Bay's a better team again. I think if they can just play. If they can play to the level that they were playing, like against the Titans and the Colts, I think this is an easy win here.
I think so too. And yeah, it was a private message off air. Jaden Reed's been so good this year, has over 300 yards receiving. He has 6 against man coverage. 6 yards, I believe, is the number. Not catches, not anything else. And Christian Watson leads the team in yards versus man with like 34. So Packers have not done well against man coverage, and they also haven't really seen much man coverage. And I think that's going to continue in this game because it's another game where the Cardinals secondary is pretty goddamn bad. Like, they can't play man on man with the Packers receivers. Whether you think the Packers receivers are average or great, the Cardinals secondary is much worse than that. I can guarantee that. Even the Cardinals playing pretty good defense this year overall, they've allowed the 3rd highest completion percentage to teams, allowing teams to complete over 72% of their passes. And that's because they play zone, because they can't cover anybody one-on-one, and then they can't get after the passer. So this screams run Jaden Reed on a deep cross every play.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's just one of those games where Jordan Love probably isn't going to be under pressure, and Packers receivers are good at finding soft spots in the zone, and Matt LaFleur's great at calling plays against zone. So this game should be perfect for Matt LaFleur.
Yeah.
In the bag.
In the bag. I agree.
Scares me a little bit. Like, this is the game where it's like, oh, strength on weakness. Let's go.
And then, yeah.
Yeah. We'll see.
And then we get fucked and we have to eat our words. We're like, well, that sucked.
It could end up being like an offensive
like
showcase, though, too. Like, if Kyler Murray gets running on the Packers, I think the Packers are going to be able to score. I'm really not worried about that.
Agreed.
So it could be like a 30-35 game. It could be crazy. So I'll start with my predictions. Again, the Packers are favored by 5.5. The over-under is only 47.5. I do think the Packers win 30. I'll go 30-22. I think it's a pretty big win, and I think a lot of points are scored.
I agree. Like so they think what Packers 27, Cardinals 21. I'm gonna bump that up probably 3-6. I'll go Packers 30, Cardinals 24.
Packers 27, Cardinals 14.
I feel like I need to bet that exact score. You put a lot of thought into that for it to not be exactly.
Hey, last week I was pretty close. I was like, what the hell? I was not expecting it to be that close to what I thought, but I did put a lot of thought into that. Like, I think it's not gonna be as high just because I feel like when like the Rams game happened where it was like up, down, we don't know what's going on. I feel like that's our entire season with this Packers team because they are so young. Like you said, controlled chaos. They're all these young kids that just want to, get all these damn penalties. And it's like, no, you're on an NFL team. You're not in, college football anymore. You gotta fix your shit. So I feel like that's the way our season is going to be at this point.
And we did our show last week before any of the Romeo Dobbs stuff happened. So obviously he was suspended for one game for missing a couple practices. A lot of stuff happening behind closed doors, in my opinion.
For sure.
He's back at practice, though. He's practicing. Everything trends towards him playing. Certainly a couple weird interactions between him and Matt LaFleur. So we will see what happens. But to me, I truly think they're going to feature him first drive. I think they're going to get him the football pretty early and often in this game. And again, like if there's one game where you should be able to pick which receiver you want to have a good game, it should be against the Cardinals. So I don't know if he is like a Cardinals fan because of where he's from as well, by the way. That's very possible. Like it feels like a big Romeo Dobbs game, and all of a sudden everything's right in the world. We'll see, though. Or it's a bad game and he requests a trade. We'll see. I don't know. Yep. Anything else before we get out of here?
Well, he better be good because he's on my fucking fantasy and I forgot to take him. I forgot to put him on the bench last week and I was like, damn it, no.
Okay. That's a threat towards Romeo Dobbs. Fucking get it together. Janet needs it.
I've been watching a lot of TikTok lately. Not that there's anything out of the ordinary.
I was gonna say, this new TikTok.
It's news.
I've been watching this guy, the LA Beast, and
that sounds familiar.
So I watched his video where he ate a 5-pound bag of sugar-free gummy bears, and it's incredible. He does this video, and then it always ends with him throwing everything up. And so the one he did was 100 raw eggs, which is pretty funny, and then a gallon of Tabasco sauce. So that's been my entertainment for the last couple days.
What? Have you ever seen that jelly bean girl? The way she eats, she does those. What are they called? Those videos where like they eat and they put the sound. Oh, it sounds disgusting.
Like mukbang or whatever.
Yes, it sounds absolutely disgusting. She downed like a whole. What are they called? I don't eat at Taco Bell. Like the crunch wrap things.
Crunch Wrap Supreme. It's a really good.
Okay, well, she downed that thing in like 1 minute. It was disgusting.
Is her name Jelly Beans, or is she like destroying Jelly Bean?
No, okay. Her name is Jelly Bean on TikTok, and like she ate like 3 burgers in 3 minutes. I'm like, it's so disgusting, but I can't stop watching it.
Did anybody watch Shoe Nice back in the day?
Hell yeah,
2012.
Yeah, incredible.
That guy is still alive.
It's peak internet.
Peak internet. That was epic mealtime Shoe Nice era.
When you used to watch it on the Vine, or what is it on Vine?
Vine, yeah. Watch Shoe Nice chug a bottle of vodka.
Yeah, incredible.
It's insane. Okay, well, that's your homework for this week. If Packers, let's get a win for the Packers here. Go to 4-2. We got to go
4-2
watch
would
some
be
old
nice.
shoot nice videos. If they're not removed from the internet, very possible. So there's got to be re-uploads though. Go watch
For
that,
sure.
everybody.
You guys want to
Everybody.
know what my errand was? So in San
Sure.
Antonio, I want to tell you guys, if you ever come to Texas and you're in San Antonio, don't ever drink. In Wisconsin, you guys can do this because you have the cleanest water in the United States. But don't ever drink the water from the faucet. It's disgusting. Even like taking a shower with the water is like you can feel like it's not clean. So Baloo, Baloo already passed away, but Pumbaa does not drink anything but purified water. And he ran out and I had to go get it.
High maintenance.
That-
I like it.
When we went to Detroit, Trevor drank the tap water there and got sick after.
Yeah, weird.
Yeah.
What the biggest surprise of all time?
Right.
Yeah. So if you ever come to Texas, do not drink the tap water. Yeah, go get bottled water. So Pumbaa drinks bottled water every single damn day, and he ran out, and I had to go buy some.
Should have him go get it. What's
Right.
he doing all day?
Right. He just sits around, and he's got a dog walker. Like she comes and she picks him up and takes him.
Oh, really?
So, yeah, that was my errand that I had to run. That's why I was late.
I mean, it's a good reason. Yeah, no kidding. It's a great reason. Okay, we'll be back next week. Next week, Packers play the Texans.
Texans.
Yes.
Does that sound correct? Okay, big game next week, but we're not looking ahead. Let's
No.
be